Going into next session, we're obviously going to have the Bloodsiphon combat, which shouldn't be too bad as they're likely just going to flank and destroy it before it can do too much. What the fuck? Well, I called that wrong. You know, as a new GM to Pathfinder, I often keep my eye out for posts or articles about picking up this game, and nearly always they mention that the beginner's box plus Abomination Vaults is the best place to start. And from a convenience standpoint, I totally agree. It's allowed the story to flow really well, taught us the game by placing us in a variety of situations, and avoided becoming too overwhelming by keeping the adventure to a smaller scale. However, isn't it also a pretty brutal introduction to the system? My players, that have shown in other systems they'd rather TPK than flee, have gotten real cozy with the idea of retreating. You could argue this is actually a good thing. It's more realistic that the heroes can't handle every threat just because they're heroes. Running away, getting more powerful, and coming back can be a really compelling story thread. But as most GMs know, players aren't used to doing that in these kind of games, and if you aren't careful, it could lead to frustration and an antagonistic relationship forming. Hard fights can be really fun. Anyone that enjoys Souls like games would agree that the hardest fights become the most memorable. But when that becomes every encounter, and without warning, that can sting a little. I guess you probably want to know what brought all this on. Well, today's episode is a tale of taking a step back and reassessing the angle. You're about to see our heroes humbled and then find the breathing room that they need. Picking up from last session, our heroes had just awoken the Bloodsiphon and initiative had been rolled. The general vibe of our heroes was peppy and excited.
So I'm going to shimmy for one action, and then I'm going to flurry of... Oh, no! No, I forgot. I have to get into my stance, as always. So, one action to move, and then I'm going to use Stoke Flame Stance, and then for my final action, I'm going to Flurry of Blows with Flashing Spark. So I have to target the thing. There we go.
A hit.
Yeah.
Okay, and again. Damn.
Miss.
There we go. Alright. Cool. I'm done.
May landed an attack and accidentally discovered the weakness to slashing in doing so. This was an encouraging sign that they'd be able to quickly deal with the threat. The party immediately began flanking it and cutting it up, making use of that slashing damage weakness to quickly smash through its health points. Then the Bloodsiphon went, and the dynamic immediately changed. A lot of monsters so far have had combos that take 3 individual actions to achieve, but due to how mobile people are, they rarely get the chance to pull off a full combo. Due to the size of the room, this wasn't a problem for the Bloodsiphon, and in one turn it turned the battle on its head. With its first action, it hit May with a critical bite attack. This reduced her to 6 hit points. With its second action, it grabbed May, and thanks to the grab trait on the bite, this wasn't affected by the multiple attack penalty. If it had been, this grab attempt would have failed. With its third and final action, it used Blood Drain. With no attack roll necessary, it pulled 8 hit points out of May and into itself. This put May in the dying condition, but since the grapple lasted until the creature's next turn, it hadn't dropped her yet. May had essentially been reduced to a bottomless healing potion for the Bloodsiphon. The group hadn't yet realised the problem that this would cause, as they were pretty casual about the life-threatening situation.
Damn, that's rude.
You're
Well-
not out yet.
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Oh. May slumps to the ground.
Ew, it's still attached to my arm.
It's just it's got you like a lollipop in its mouth now.
Our heroes continue to make use of flanking to chip away at its health slowly, while May and Milo compared their experiences in the various combats so far.
I didn't realize when you're dying you don't see anything.
No,
You haven't been dying before?
No,
Holy shit.
I've never gone down.
first time for
Lucky.
everything.
Woo!
I spent most fights down.
When Ornifex's turn came around, she questioned whether she should heal May or just help kill the creature. The following discussion finally made everyone realize just how scary May's situation was.
The question is, do I heal or do I try to attack?
I mean, it still has May in their mouth, so it's probably going to keep, like, you know, munching on May which means that if we don't kill this in like one turn, May's probably going to die.
Yeah. So healing her is probably not the optimal thing if we can't free her either.
I mean, we probably should heal her so she doesn't die, because there's no way we're killing this in one more turn.
Okay.
She decided to heal May so that the imminent damage wouldn't come in the form of a failed recovery check. Essentially, they began the process of yo-yo healing her, but as we know, due to the wounded condition, that won't work for very long. On May's turn, she fought to escape from the Bloodsiphon, but a critical failure meant she was stuck with no other attempts allowed this turn. Not wanting to go down again and gain wounded 2, she drank a healing potion and then tried to flurry of blows, but both attacks missed. The group now turned their full attention to breaking the Bloodsiphon's grapple on May. With the limitations they had, the best plan they came up with was to shove the Bloodsiphon away from May, as we think forced movement will end the grapple. However, the small room that had allowed them to surround and flank the monster now proved to be the biggest issue for this plan. In order for the grapple to break, the monster had to be moved so that May was no longer within reach. But the only way to do that was to move it into one specific square, and only Tiny was positioned to do that. The problem there is that the Bloodsiphon gets a turn before Sesto and Tiny. So, with a plan in mind but no way to action it yet, the party continued chipping away at its health with small amounts of damage. When the Bloodsiphon's turn came around again, it of course continued the grab and drained May. But then I had a realization. There's no frequency limit on this ability. It just costs one action. So, it did it again. The party now realized that this creature could basically for free heal 16 hit points a turn with no rolls needed. May fell back into dying, and people began to rely heavily on Tiny succeeding his upcoming shove attempt. Hero points were brought up as an option for both Sesto and May, as now the group just wanted to get May out of the room. The shove was rolled, but it failed, and things began to look pretty hopeless for May. One effects healed May again, stalling her death yet again. The desperation has definitely begun setting in, as even the simplest choices began getting double and triple checked.
That's the thing. I could go closer and then do nothing, which I will just do, because why actually not? Hello. Okay, I'm done.
If you go up, then wouldn't Tiny have flanking?
Oh, I didn't see Tiny there. Okay.
And Tiny can't shove off anymore, though.
Oh, is
I
that
have
what
never been there.
This is like the issue we're having.
Okay,
We're in a very
okay,
confined area,
Yeah.
but we can't really shove this thing off you.
Yeah, I think it's like at this point, the shoving, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's working very well.
In theory, you need someone else to move as well, so you have more shoving
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need Sesto to step down so Rock can also try shoving, but
Now, what I need is for this room not to be like the perfect size to fuck us over on this strategy.
I do like the
Okay.
visual of Ornifex climbing on top of the table with it.
Yes. I'm just on the
I'm
table
just
now.
bashing it with something.
It depends.
Yes.
Do you want to keep shoving, or do we just go for full damage? It's an awkward.
I don't
what
know.
do we do?
I think we DPS at this point.
In that case, on effects, I might be higher up.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. Am I higher up?
If that's the plan.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck
Yeah.
I've never been on the table. Why would I climb the thing, you know?
This is just horrible maths we've got to work out with a massive, like.
Yeah, we don't know like how much damage it can take or anything like that.
Yeah.
May's turn came again, and she was awake for it. She attempted to pull free of its grapple.
Yes! Yes!
Okay.
Oh my
Tear
god.
yourself free. Success. May fled the room, getting as far as she could from the Bloodsiphon. With May essentially saved, they began attacking wildly, but began consistently missing due to bad rolls. With no May to chew on, the Bloodsiphon had to choose a new target, which I rolled randomly and ended up being Rock. Another crit on its bite shredded whatever health Rock had left.
He likes that smoky vibe. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck?
No.
What's wrong? I thought it's for level 2. We are level 2. What's happening?
It's one monster, so it's like.
Let's fuck this place.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out of here and never return.
This is awful.
It slurped up Rock into a grapple and sucked some of his blood to heal up. This put Rock immediately on dying too. Rock was a little less hopeful than May about his chances. He was next in the initiative order, so no one had had chance to heal him yet. The party were painfully aware that the next round, if this thing was still had Rock in its grasp, he was dead. The only hope that Rock had was to use his hero point to immediately wake up and try to escape, but Rock was a little hesitant by this idea. If you're doing a recovery check, then it's the dice
Oh, I see
underneath
it.
you.
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, that's a failure.
Oh my
And
God.
another death.
So I go up to 3.
Yep. So
Which
the
means
next,
next time you dead.
I think, yeah.
So now we
Yeah.
aren't running?
No. Guys, just fucking book it.
No, we got a
Why didn't you come with us?
You have a hero point you can use.
Yeah.
You can just wake up.
I have a hero point. I still have to break the grapple.
Yeah.
There's no way I'm getting out of this.
No, you just
you've
use
gotta
the
be
hero
the
point,
first
break the
person to do it.
grapple, stand up, and run. It's easy.
Easy
May
peasy.
did it. If May does it, you can do it too, Rock. I believe. I believe. You gotta try. You gotta try.
You
We'll
have plenty of healing still.
It's either that or you're dead. I
I'm
think.
pretty sure I'm dead.
Well, you can die with a unused hero point, or you can use a hero point and then
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do with a hero point in your grave, hey?
Absolutely nothing.
The barrage of logic worked, and Rock used his hero point to wake the hell up.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
He ripped free of the grapple, stood his ass up, and fled out of the room to safety. This happened at the perfect time. The Bloodsiphon had just acted, so every party member now got a turn before the creature could do anything. Everyone cleared out of the room, with May readying an action to slam the door as soon as they were all out. Again, excellent choice, as this stopped the Bloodsiphon from pursuing. Instead, it began smashing down the door, but this took long enough that our heroes could retreat to the surface with their tails between their legs.
Oh. What is this place?
Well, that was unexpected.
What even was that? It was like meat with teeth.
What concerns me is the device it was on looked like it could fit a person, no? Did that used to be a person?
Yeah, I think so. Someone was turned into, well, meat porridge.
But how long has it been down there? No one from the village has gone missing. Is this
That we
new? Has it
know
been
of.
down there for years?
Probably. Probably a really, really long time. It was desiccated. Oh,
I can imagine, based on how much blood it was taking from us, that it must use that to survive, and it seemed incredibly thirsty.
yeah. How are you two feeling? You don't look very good.
I'm feeling pretty drained.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, I've been better.
What I really want to do now is just go and have a rest somewhere. I need to stitch this up. I'm going to hold it like the floppy arm.
The group decided that that was more than enough adventuring for today. Sesto decided to set up a small makeshift camp in the abandoned boathouse. He cleared out the rotten wood, used the collapsed debris to build a primitive wall that ended up being more like a mound of difficult terrain. They spent the rest of the day doing various personal activities. Milo borrowed Rock's lockpicks and decided to practice some lockpicking. Thanks to his tome implementation, he's able to choose a couple of extra proficiencies every day. While he's not technically trained in thievery, he can be if he chooses that for the day, and this is to emulate that he's learning these skills. Ornifex settled down to begin looking after her wounded allies. She first healed up May and Rock to remove the wounded conditions. While she worked on Rock, he began to converse with her. This was a really good bit of roleplay, but it wasn't about any particular story element, which kind of made it hard to summarize. So I'll just let the conversation play out.
You know, there's some irony here. Here you are, you looking like a crow, yet here you are, healing me instead of hurting me.
Why do you think that crows should hurt you?
I've been around death too long, and all I see are crows around them. Around the bodies, you know?
I see. I know there are a lot of
Pretty good.
prejudices toward us from the humankind. But don't worry, that's nothing I'm not used to.
I've no prejudice against you. I'm glad you're here. I'm just wondering, though, what do you think happens to people when they're gone in your faith? Or what does happen?
Hmm.
I can't say I'm much of a faithful man.
So you may now follow the caravan of the stars, and I'm pretty sure that you will be one of the stars in the sky too, lighting the way for others.
So what you're saying is they're lighting the way for me right now?
They are. So don't be afraid, even if your darkest times. Just look up and you will see everything will be alright.
Rock will take a puff from his pipe and he'll just look up at the sky, trying to, even though it's fucking daytime, he's just trying to look through. It's almost like he's looking for something up there. Feeling a bit better. Good to have a rock on hand.
I'm glad.
Now, where's that kid? I hope he didn't break those.
She then turned her attention to treating May's disease. They decided to take the day either long-term resting or completing various activities, so Ornifex took the 8 hours to treat disease. Unfortunately, the roll was a critical failure, resulting in May's next disease check having a -2 penalty. May failed her disease recovery saving throw. Ironically, she would have passed without the -2, so her sickness progressed to stage 2. Luckily, this just has the same effects as stage 1, so she isn't worse off yet. Ornifex had gone to sleep at this point. May subtly took Mr. Beak from her bag and asked Milo to repair it. She wanted to thank Ornifex for all the healing she had been providing and felt that this would be a kind act. Milo apprehensively agreed, and a successful repair check let him fix up the doll as best he could. They then returned the doll to Ornifex looking much nicer. As his companions settled down to sleep, Milo began to research the dangerous creatures that they had left alive. He started with the Bloodsiphon, asking questions about what it is, what it can do, how durable they are. Unfortunately, being a unique level 4 creature, the Bloodsiphon's recall knowledge DC is a whopping 29, meaning at their current level, Milo literally can't succeed. The corpse lights were a different story though. He learnt that due to the nature of using a host, they are unable to recover damage from previous battles. I was essentially hinting that I hadn't restored their hit points from the last fight, so the party will have a leg up against them when they return. He also learnt about the wisp form, and that once the host body dies, the wisp is exposed, leaving it very vulnerable. Content with his answers, he joined the rest of the party in sleep. As they were sleeping in turns, as night settled, I described the faint light appear on the old pier across the water. They seemed intrigued, and May, who happened to be awake, tried to get a better look of them. They determined that whatever they are, it wasn't worth messing with them right now.
Personally, I'm very happy to stay here and just keep an eye on it.
Maybe another day if it keeps appearing.
Yeah.
May tried to recall knowledge on what this ribbon of lights could be, and although she failed her roll, she used the dubious knowledge feat to get 2 options, 1 true, 1 false. The false option I came up with was pyre flies, a swarm of small glowing insects that ignite flammable objects, and usually live in sodden swamps to avoid starting forest fires. They milled over the possible insects or baby wisp and decided that this would be a problem for another day. As such, I let the rest of the night go by without any problems. If they begin to rely on this camp too often, I'll start throwing complications at them. The river drake, provided they haven't already dealt with it, could prove a perfect deterrent from sleeping in the swamp. I'm fine with them using it sparingly, but I don't want it to replace arresting an Atari, as that would vastly reduce the amount of roleplay options we have available. Morning arrived, and the party stirred awake. Before the adventuring began, May asked if the mysterious rune could be identified, so Milo took a look at it. This time he succeeded, and the item was identified as a slick rune. May kept hold of this, as nobody's in a position to utilize the rune right now anyway. The party discussed what they might want to do today.
All for putting our heads against the wall, but I'm not here for suicide.
Yeah. I just wanted to know if you guys were up for it or not. Because then I would say that I'm not, so. I just wanted to, consensus. It's good. And then we're in agreement. We do not go down there again. We could go down through that other entrance, the one in the keep that we found behind the bookcase.
We still have that chapel to clear out as well.
Yeah, we do. And I think there is some doors we haven't opened in that area. I think
Yeah.
like here.
I mean, I'm all for clearing out places we haven't been yet. Might as well get the lay of the land before we move on.
Whether it was a matter of pride or trying to redeem yesterday's failure, the party decided that today the corpse lights died. However, they wanted to approach from the bottom doors this time. They remembered there being a set of double doors in the room's southern wall, but they hadn't reached them yet. Still apprehensive, the group agreed that having a larger area of escape would be better in case a retreat was called again. To this end, they returned to the maggot hall and stood in front of the collapsed doors into the scorpion kennel. Sesto has gotten pretty comfortable using Tiny as bait, as although they share hit points, Tiny can be dismissed in an emergency. So they sent Tiny up and over the blocked door into the scorpion kennel to check things out. I mean, he lacks the hands, but he's also a fae. So maybe it's fine.
He's been given a climbing speed.
He's been given a climbing speed. Right, screw it. Roll initiative.
Oh, fuck.
Oh no.
Guys, it went all the way over. Oh!
We rolled initiative as Tiny plopped down in front of a very hungry scorpion that hadn't been fed in several days. The party weren't too worried, as thanks to the initiative order, Sesto could dismiss Tiny before the scorpion's turn. However, this did lead to the astonishing realization that Rock had thought Tiny was a real wolf this entire time. Sesto sent Tiny away, and then having smelt food, the scorpion began smashing through the door. Usually the scorpion shouldn't pursue further than its kennel, but due to its hunger and me wanting the party to kill something, just to make them feel better, I was ready to have it follow them until it gets its meal. The party knew that it was only a matter of time before the scorpion smashed through the door, so they made a pretty good plan to position themselves, ready some actions, and basically let the scorpion come to them. However, I'll admit I couldn't stop chuckling to myself about this. They didn't consider whether this thing had reach, and as they excitedly enacted their plan, I was sat here knowing that it wasn't going to work. Milo stood on one side of the door, ready to stab as soon as it runs past. Rock did the same on the other side of the door. Sesto called Tiny back and had him back up, ready for a charge. The door splintered and crumbled, causing these collapsed stones to tumble aside. Those with ranged options launched spells and attacks at the now visible scorpion. Milo and Rock prepared their attack for when the scorpion moved past them. Spoiler, it didn't need to move past them to attack them. And May ready to grapple so she could stop it freely moving into the larger room. With their preparations in order, it came to the scorpion's turn. It lashed out with its stinger, which missed, but then hit Milo with a claw attack. They were obviously dismayed by its reach. Because its claws also have reach.
What?
That'll hit.
We have been bamboozled. Ow!
And then it'll use its last action to attempt a grab. A critical success. Oh, you're grabbed and restrained as it scoops you up and just takes you into the sky.
No!
Milo was grabbed and restrained. The party mobilized to try and save Milo, but since he was restrained, all he could do was try and escape. He succeeded and writhed free of the pincers. He then began to retreat towards the party. Unfortunately, this was the first creature they encountered that had a reactive strike, so as Milo fled, the stinger sunk into his back and left him dying on the ground. Knowing the initial plan was null and void, May ran towards the scorpion and slammed into the insect, forcing it back into its kennel. From here, the fight went relatively smoothly. They kept the scorpion in its kennel, chipping away at its health. Tiny demoralized the scorpion, giving it frightened too. This fear saved the party from multiple attacks. Out of the 3 strikes it made, all 3 would have hit if not for frightened, so good job Sesto. Before its next turn, the party smashed through its remaining hit points and the scorpion was slain. They then stabilized Milo, and we called the session there. Things were looking a little shaky towards the middle of the session. I could feel the motivation slipping after the complete failure when facing the Bloodsiphon, but I think killing the scorpion was quite cathartic and has restored a bit of confidence. Despite the lower energy of the group, I still think it was a fun session. We had some good roleplay, they established a convenient, if insecure, forward operating base, and they made great use of their skills they had available to them. If there are any lessons to be taken away from this, it would be the importance of regular successes, however small, to counter failures. Even though they all escaped with their lives, getting out didn't feel like a success. It felt like a wound to their confidence, which definitely slowed down their progress. Killing the scorpion went a long way to fixing that confidence and reminding them that even if their initial plans fail, they have the tools and the skills to overcome these challenges. If they do commit to fighting the corpse lights again, I think we're going to see a very different fight. and hopefully they'll go back down to the servants' quarters through the first entrance they found. I think having some battles against multiple weaker enemies will feel much nicer than the nasty solar monsters they've been facing so far. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate the continued support. If you enjoyed this campaign diary, then leaving a like or a comment can go a really long way to helping the channel grow. And subscribe if you want to keep up to date with the adventure. Thanks so much. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.